Shri Guru Shri Yudapadakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansha Shri Rupam Sarvajatam Sarvanatamikam Tam Sajivam Sarvaitam Sarvadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sadhana Lalita Shri Shakhamritamsya Hare Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Taptakanchana Gaurani Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Pranami Haritme Manchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Devacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Shashadarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Now,
Hare Krishna. So we continue from yesterday. Yesterday, just to recap, we had discussed we started with the expectations and
switch it on.
and vision and history of Bhakti Vriksha. Then we discussed the 6 parts of a Bhakti Vriksha gathering, and then we had a live demonstration before lunch. And after that we had the contact, cultivation and care. And we discussed different ways of generating contacts, how to follow up with the contacts and cultivate the members, which is the heart of Bhakti Vriksha, which is very, very, very important. So we discussed different ways of follow-up and techniques through email, through phone, and how we need to pray before each of the follow-up. We discussed the Path to Perfection Shiksha program, which helps the community and the devotees who are chanting different number of rounds to be recognized in different ways. Then we discussed about the Bhakti Vriksha training, which needs to be done based on the Path to Perfection Shiksha levels, the Shraddhavan, Krishna Seva, Krishna Sadhaka, and then the roles assignment in Bhakti Vriksha. Within a group, there are several roles of welcome coordinators and devotee care groups within the group, the picnic planner, the celebration coordinator, children coordinator, facilitator, all of these. And then we discussed on the children program. That's where we ended, right? We discussed the children program. That's where we ended. So today we will discuss on the art of discussion, the Bhakti Vriksha structure and life cycle, group multiplication, duties of a Bhakti Vriksha servant leaders, and after that we will do the implementation planning, which is what we want to focus on today. So we'll start with the Bhakti Vriksha structure and life cycle and the group multiplication, and at the end we'll quickly go through the art of discussion because we went over the art of discussion yesterday also, and we had a live demonstration and all of that. But we'll just touch over some main points here. Okay. Any questions or comments so far?
I really enjoyed the program yesterday.
Thank you. Me too.
Since I wasn't here in the afternoon, I'm wondering if it might be possible to either get some handout or perhaps a copy of the video.
Yes.
Actually, I've given him all these presentations along with all the other material, supporting material that we have, the edifications, the roles
the discussion
document.
material that is used in the programs, that we handed out during the program yesterday,
Okay.
when we discussed that entire material. So we have a chronology of those materials. Everything has been given to Rastopa Prabhu already,
Okay.
so you can take from him.
Thank
And for the afternoon session, whatever we've done, the recording is available. So, and we are available all the time and days. We'll give out our contact details also. Can get
So
in touch
Prabhu,
with
if
us.
you can post these videos on YouTube based on these different topics that we saw,
Yes, Prabhu.
separate rather than one file.
Split them.
Yeah, then that way it will make more sense. So we'll discuss on the Bhakti Vriksha structure and life cycle. Yesterday we saw the main overall strategy is the Vamandev approach. Just like Vamandev, in 3 steps of land, he covered the entire universe. Bhakti Vriksha can also do that with 3-phased strategy of contact, cultivation and care. And we had more details. We also discussed different roles in Bhakti Vriksha, where we know that this whole thing, contact, cultivation, care, cannot be done by just one person. That's the thing about Bhakti Vriksha. It's not a one-person led group. Typically, we see sometimes that the host is the person who is actually driving it. Everyone else is attending, and they all say that, okay, I'm going to this person's program. Right? I'm just. But in Bhakti Vriksha, because they are engaged in so many different roles, they feel it is our program. Yes, this person is the host. He has the role of the host. He has the role of a facilitator. But the whole idea of Bhakti Vriksha is they should start thinking this is our program. Then they'll want to grow it. If they think this is this person's program, I'm going there, even if they want to grow it, they feel we don't know whether we'll be stepping over that Prabhuji's shoes, he may have his own ideas or whatever.
Maybe offended.
Yeah.
Or sometimes they just say, I don't have any stake in it, I don't bother. As long as I get whatever I get, I'm fine with it. So that, with contact, cultivation, care and assigning these roles, it becomes a group effort. Then that's where you get success. So this structure of Bhakti Vriksha was based on Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Namahatta organizational structure. He gave this whole organizational structure in the 1800s when he would do his Namahatta programs. And the whole idea is that each group has a servant leader. And again, it's a servant leader. It's not a leader of the group, just the leader. He is leading, he's actually the servant of so many people. That's why the role servant leader. And each group has a servant leader, and within each group they have different roles. But 2-3 such groups have a cluster, which they call as a sector. Then 3-4 sectors would form a circle. 3-4 circles would call a Mahachakra. And so Bhakti Vinod Thakur had all these levels. We had, but I want to just focus on this. He had all these levels. Upachakra, which means a sector, which is a combination of 3 to 5 groups. Chakra is a circle, which is 9 to 15 groups. Mahachakra is 36 groups. Mala is 3 Mahachakras. Then Mandala, Mahamandala, Taranga, Plavan. Plavan means a flood, which is 108 malas, 108 times 108 groups. So he had so many groups in his organizational structure. This was just village based. In different villages, they would have so many groups coming together. So this is a small subset of what Bhakti Vinod Thakur's vision was, and the Bhakti Vriksha model is based on Bhakti Vinod Thakur's Namahatta model. So there is a Bhakti Vriksha group, the servant leader, he has a trainee servant leader. Each group has like that. 3-4 such groups form a sector, which Bhakti Vinod Thakur would call Upachakra. And many such sectors would form a circle, which he would call a chakra. And then many such circles would have, there's more circle servants, and then there's a supervising preacher, which could be the Bhakti Vriksha Council, which is reporting to the temple management or the program director, like that, depending on what kind of implementation you're doing. But this thing is common in all implementations of Bhakti Vriksha. So this way you can see each one teach one while being taught by one. The servant leader is teaching the trainee servant leader, and he's taught by the sector servant. He's monitored by the sector servant. He's guided by the sector servant. Sector servant is guiding the servant leader, but is guided by the circle servant. Similarly, circle servant is training the sector servant, but guided by all of these, that whole structure. So it has a balance. This whole structure has a balance. If suppose the servant leader of a group moves to another place, there is a trainee servant leader who can take place, and there is a sector servant who is also supporting the group, all these groups. So he will make sure that all these things are happening. So we'll see what is the duties of a sector servant, what are the duties of a servant leader, and all of those things. So yesterday we discussed the dynamics of one group. If you want to create and maintain one group, what all things you need to do. Now if your group multiplies and you have several groups in an area, then how the whole structure of Bhakti Vriksha implementation can be there. The entire implementation of multiple groups is what we focus on today.
One question. I mean, you told you will be going over, but the sector servant is somewhere in the bigger area, like northeastern America, Northeast America, or something like that,
No,
it's really in the Boston only.
Yeah, for example, in our Houston area, we have 12 groups.
Yeah.
12 Bhakti Vriksha groups in Houston itself. So every 3 groups have a sector servant.
Oh, okay.
So it's within one area. It's not all over the
So
US.
it's lower level only.
Yeah. So this supervising preacher is the Bhakti Vriksha Council for that temple.
Oh, okay. Supervising. Okay, that is the temple level.
Yeah. This is the temple level.
Oh, okay.
And all this implementation is under that temple level.
So it's not like this temple will have another connection with the other temple. It's not like that.
Not necessarily.
I mean, this implementation doesn't say that, but if one temple wants to have a combination with another temple,
On
they
top
can
of
do that.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then GBC comes, who is
Yeah.
multiple temples. Yes, ma'am.
How do you have in Houston? You have 12 groups in Houston. So how far in do you keep there should be one Bhakti Vriksha here, and apart from that 2 or 3 miles away there should be another one. So do you go like that, or there can be one Bhakti Vriksha in the same city and there can be multiple Bhakti Vriksha in the same city? Like that?
Yes, there could be multiple Bhakti Vriksha in the same city, in the same locality, in the same neighborhood, or in the same complex, or in the same house. Sometimes there are some places 40 people come, and there is no other place to do it. So if a devotee has bigger home, in one room one group is meeting, another group is meeting.
Simultaneously. So you have 3 Bhakti Vrikshas going on in the same room, in the same house.
Like Western Bhakti Vriksha, we do it in the temple complex, but in another building. We have another building called the Gauranga Hall, which is meant for this kind of purposes. So we have 2 groups meeting in that building.
Simultaneously.
And for Prasadam they come together.
That's really good.
But they meet separately because, if you meet, and especially for the Western Bhakti Vriksha, the 3 that we have, one is for newcomers only, which means those who are just off the street, you got their contact. So before they go to Bhakti Vriksha program, they come to this simple living high thinking. After 3 months, they are moved to the regular Bhakti Vriksha program. So, because what happens is, we have already gone over certain topics in the regular Bhakti Vriksha program. And now if a new person comes in, they feel lost and then they don't feel like coming again. So there is this group where every 3 months, people come here and only basic topics are discussed here in this Bhakti Vriksha. Then after 3 months, they are sent here. And some new people come, they again come here and it goes on like that. So it keeps churning people. So this group is the orientation group which goes and feeds into other Bhakti Vriksha groups like that. Especially for Westerners. Indians also it can be done, but we found that Indians just blend in. It doesn't take so much.
And they catch up also. They can catch up, but for Westerners, it takes time.
Yeah,
they
it's a
need
different
a chronological approach to the entire thing. So that's why we felt the need, and they are, responding to it very, very well.
So those two groups, the simple living, high thinking, and self-discovery for Westerners, happens in the same building. So sometimes we have kirtans together, then they go to separate places. Then we do our program and then come back and have prasadam together. So that way the new people also get to know the group that they are going to go to.
It's like class on class.
Right. Otherwise, suddenly if they are told, okay, now you can go to the other group, and they don't know people of the other group, they'll say, no, I have my friends here. I don't want to go there with unknown people. So like they become attached to this place. So we have prasadam together. They already know them. Oh, okay, this is a higher. I know these people. I'll go there.
And one thing, the simple living, high thinking, is that 20 weeks one probably?
Yes. And then after that we go to Bhagavad Gita, but edification style only, discussion format. And although our regular format is the discussion format that we discussed, once a month we have a variation, because sometimes it becomes monotonous. Even discussion format becomes monotonous. So sometimes we have a senior devotee or Maharaj come and give a lecture class. Sometimes we have a video. We have like a movie night, we call. We put Prabhupada's video or we put the Krishna video and then 45 minutes later we just ask everyone what is the one thing that you like the most. So we still wanted to keep interactive, but at the same time it's a little bit of a change. Or once a month we just do Bhajan Sandhya, especially in Indian groups, only Kirtans. So people like that, they look forward to it. Oh, this week is Bhajan Sandhya, okay. That time you'll see people who never come from a long time, they also join in. So, it's a way people can again regroup together. And so like that, you can keep changing. Once a month, you can have a different pattern.
So probably a couple of questions. One is, talking about the structure, which is really good. Now, when we go from the circle servant to the sector servant, the trainee, there is a communication which happens. Now, one of the things is, when the communication happens, when I communicate to you communicate to me, the same message when I communicate to the other person, it is always that I only give 50% of the impact, 25% of what has been passed on. So, one question is, how do we make sure that the communication from you, which is sent to me, like I can give, how do we make sure that the same communication goes, that there is no disperse or there is no cut down in the message? That's one question. The second question is, in a day-to-day life and practically, okay, today if you look at the Bhakti Vriksha, it's something like, not all the people are, I'm using the word people, I should have called devotees, either way. So, they may not be to the level of being them as a trainee servant. They are all starting, and over a period of time it cultivates. So, how do we ensure, should we choose ourselves a particular trainee servant, or is it, because what is the qualification, is there any kind of chanting ground, or, because at the end of the day they are all at the same level probably, and it may take time to actually go to that level. So how do we address these two questions?
Regarding your first question, when there is, of course there is communication from here to here to here, yes? So that the communication stays as it is, right? The circle servant also visits the Bhakti Vriksha groups. He does visit. You know, in his circle, when he goes around, whatever Bhakti Vriksha groups come under his circle, he also goes and visits. It's not that the circle servant is completely having no connection at all with any Bhakti Vriksha group. He also interacts. There might be 4 Bhakti Vriksha groups, or this circle servant has like 3 sectors under him. So he will probably visit once in 3 months. He'll probably get to visit a group, right? The turn will come.
He visits one
different group he'll visit. So maybe one group's turn will come maybe once in 3 months. That's okay. But still, he is in touch with the ground reality. He is also directly in touch with the servant leader as well as the trainee servant leader. He is in touch with them. And he makes sure that the communication, whatever he has communicated, whether it is being implemented or not. And there are also regular meetings between the circle servant, sector servant, trainee servant leader and the Bhakti Vriksha servant leader. There is a meeting face-to-face also with them. It has to be done. That is answering your first question. Answering your second question, would you like to say?
Yeah, go ahead, I'll add something.
Okay. Regarding your second question, the trainee servant leader, everyone is at the same level. They start the philosophy. Now the beauty of Bhakti Vriksha is that when they are, the edifications are designed in such a way, within 3 months, especially we wish you would have attended yesterday, but you can see the videos. The way the design is of these programs, members are automatically trained as the time goes by, even though they are starting off as freshers. Just like when we enroll ourselves into any kind of a course, we are making advancement, whether we want it or not, because the whole group is making that advancement. So they are making that advancement, they are making that progress in their spiritual life, in their sadhana, in their own philosophical growth, everything. So there are these different roles where there is the facilitator, the trainee servant leader, there's some welcome group. There are 10 different roles, which we had discussed yesterday. So based on those, then the members, after, say for example, a group starts brand new, with new members totally. Then 3 months down the line, the servant leader facilitates the roles assignment. He does a session just dedicated to the roles, to seeing how the members will come forward and take some responsibility on behalf of the group.
Right.
So when they do that, you will be surprised. I mean, we are always surprised. Whenever we do this, we are always surprised with the kind of response that the members give. Because they want to come forward, because we put it forward to them saying that it is not our program, but it is your program. And all of our program. It's just not my program. It's all of our program. And when we give them that feeling, that's what makes the difference for them to come and take that responsibility and act on behalf of the group. Otherwise, they are just attendees eternally. They're just members eternally. We don't want them to be members eternally and us leader eternally. No. They are also to be, the servant leader envisions them to be future servant leaders. Each and every one of the members is envisioned.
Don't tell them that I envision you as a future servant leader.
They will be scared. They will run away from
we
you.
need to see them that in our minds, yes, this person is now going to, in future, going to lead a group like this, even though right now he's so new. Can the servant leader see the new member as a potential servant leader himself? If the servant leader cannot see the member as a leader, the member will not be able to see himself as a leader at all. So in our mind, if I'm seeing this person, no, I don't think he can ever be a leader. Let him be. He's gone. His future is gone now.
But just see what Srila Prabhupada himself did. He envisioned each and every one of his disciples qualified enough to go and start a center. That was the vision that Srila Prabhupada had, and that's the reason why ISKCON blossomed so much in just 12 years. It's inconceivable how it was achieved. But what Srila Prabhupada did is because he had that vision. So that same vision was, given by Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And that is the same vision we are also trying to replicate by following in the footsteps of our acharyas.
When they started the center in London, how old were all the people who met George Harrison in Krishna consciousness?
Shyam Sundar Prabhu, all of them, how old were they?
20s.
Yeah, but
No,
how long were they in Krishna consciousness?
Less than a year.
Yeah.
Exactly. They were less than a year. How many years are all of us in Krishna consciousness? Shameful to even disclose that. It's shameful.
But if Prabhupada says,
I am
they are
ashamed.
junior devotees, let them become little senior, then they can go to London. He just said, go and preach in another country where there is no, not that Prabhupada was personally training them there, but they had faith in Prabhupada and they were having some communication, whatever mail communication once a month or something like that. But
So that does that answer your
Yeah, at the
question?
same time, I don't want to, probably hijack what was covered at yesterday because of but more importantly, I don't want to question what has been, covered up yesterday because I'll go through that. But, and the question is already answered, probably I'll not that. So, at the end of the day, can the roles which you're talking about, can it be swag? I mean, should it be swag?
yes, exactly.
Yes,
That's what
it
we were
would
coming to.
be. It would be.
That there are 10 roles. If you go down, there will be 10 roles. But these 5 are the main roles. So once every 3 months, this is the servant leader. This is the servant leader. These are the training servant leaders that he has identified. This is the welcome group, trainee welcome group, the devotee care, trainee devotee care, picnic planner, and all of these are there. Each of them has a role. Every 3 months, what we do is we don't have any program in terms of no discussion or no Krishna Katha kind of thing. We just take a step back, and once in 3 months we just have a discussion with the group. Where are we going? Because that's there in everyone's minds too. And I've been coming for a year. Where am I going? Where is this whole thing going? What am I going to just keep coming? And then what? So, and then when they don't find satisfying answers for it, they drop off, or they go somewhere else, or they feel maybe I should just go and visit the temple, and here I'm not getting anything. So every 3 months you take a step back, ask them, where are we going? This is where we started, this is what we have discussed so far, this is what we are going to discuss philosophically. But as your personal growth, these are the roles that, we go through these roles, explain them and ask them who would want to volunteer for these roles. Then after next 3 months, next session, because we have documented who volunteered for which role, how are they doing in each role? Do you need any help? Do you need any assistance? Do you want to switch with someone else and train someone else?
And it is recommended that you switch and try the other roles also, so that every member gets an experience of doing each and everything within the group.
And then when you see one who is most enthusiastic and experienced in all the roles, he becomes a training servant. And when you tell him, at that point if you tell that person, okay, now we are identifying you as the trainee servant leader, he doesn't feel intimidated because he knows what you're talking about. If without going through these roles, if you directly tell them after a year or so of just attending, okay, would you like to be the trainee servant leader? He doesn't know what to answer because he doesn't know what it means. You know what it means, but he doesn't know what it means to be a trainee servant leader. But when he goes through these roles, he says, does it mean all this? I have to go through it? Yeah, I think it's not a big deal because he's already experienced it.
So how far into it do you assign these roles?
Well,
Within 3 months.
3 months.
Within 3 months?
Yeah, within 3 months, you can open this up. At least after 3 months of the group, have a discussion. Okay, these are the roles. Which role would you like to volunteer for? Explain the roles and all that.
You can
Maybe in the first quarter, you may not find a lot of volunteers, but at least they know. And it's okay, don't push them. The servant leader will have to do the roles anyways if no one comes up.
And actually the servant leader says that I've been doing most of these roles, if you see. The servant leader says it, that I've been doing all these roles, but now I want that all of us to get involved, because this is a group effort. So we all can act like a family and work towards this together. So when you bring in that family spirit and then ask someone to come ahead, people will naturally come ahead when you are asking for that help.
Even if they are 3 months old, they will say, yeah, I'd like to be a host sometimes. I'd like to call some of the new members and be in the welcome group. I'd like to be devotee care. Yeah, I'd like to make sure that everyone is doing okay and like that. Or a picnic planner. Or if they're not ready, some roles will be empty. After 3 months, again, do the same session. And maybe at that time they'll be ready to take up. And we have seen people always come forward. There's no problem with that. But the thing is, many times, at least in our case, when we did this first, we found that we were blocking them from actually coming because we didn't present it to them. As soon as we presented this to them, earlier we were thinking, okay, we know these roles, we'll individually tell them when we think they are ready. But then when we actually showed it to them, they were all volunteering. Yeah, this is exciting, this is really good, I want to contribute to the group. And so then we found, we were thinking we should judge them whether they are ready, but they are already ready actually.
They want to help.
Yeah.
They want to do it. And regarding the question on your chanting for the trainee servant leaders, the Path to Perfection program, the Shiksha program, is what helps and monitors and guides them in their chanting advancement also. So a trainee servant leader it's best if he is at least chanting 16 rounds. If he is not, even if he's chanting 8 rounds, he can still manage a group. If he is not able to chant 16 rounds, but if he has firm faith in the philosophy, if he has firm faith in Srila Prabhupada, and if he believes in the GBC, has faith in the GBC, he is qualified to be a servant leader. Even if he is not chanting 16 rounds. But he should know that that is the goal that he needs to get to. But, yeah.
Probably there are some questions, it might be even implementation phase or, what we are currently facing. We need to talk those questions at that time.
If you think it's regarding current implementation, we'll take it during the implementation phase.
Okay.
But note it down,
yes,
and we'll address it then.
Okay.
Then the other thing is each one teach one while being taught by one, as we had discussed. So there is the servant leader, the trainee servant leader. There are the senior members of the group, junior members of the group, and new members of the group. So you can actually ask the junior members of the group to take care of the new members of the group. So one junior member family who has been coming for 4 or 5 months or something, you can ask them to take care of 2 new families who have just come, just to bring them up to speed, and then the senior members of the group can actually follow up with the cold public and invite new members, because sometimes they may get rejection. So instead of junior members, senior members should do that. And servant leader is taking care of all of them. But junior members take care of new members, senior members take care of junior members and the cold public, and servant leader takes care of all of them individually. So that way, the servant leader and the trainee servant leader doesn't have to spend too much of their time. They just have to monitor some of the key leaders. And during this group meeting, they anyways meet the other people so they can cross-check it. There's a crisscross of relationship, not just one-sided relationship. Everyone should have a relationship with each other. Of course, but they should understand that this is the servant leader, this is the trainee servant leader, they should respect that. And by the example, the servant leader can lead. We discussed this yesterday, but I just wanted to, again, as we want to say, the system is not automatic, it will work with a degree. Devotees are sincere, intelligent, and selfless in their mood. But this Bhakti Vriksha system will encourage us to get the best out of us. But just because you've installed Bhakti Vriksha system doesn't mean it will work.
You turn in an on button and everything is nice and blossoming. It doesn't happen like that. You have to work towards it.
Now every Bhakti Vriksha group has a expiry date. There is a time that you should think of multiplying the group into 2. So if your group reaches this, which is 15 members at least, 15 regular members, sometimes 15 off and on, 10 are regular, 5 are off and on, not then. When there are 15 regular and a few off and on like that, then you should start thinking of multiplying the group. Because then it will start becoming a crowd, and some people will feel left off and they'll be lost in the crowd, they'll drop off, or people will start forming groups within groups if you don't make sure to multiply the group.
Because the basic principle of a Bhakti Vriksha, we should always remember, is that it is a discussion format. It's not a lecture. So you can have discussion only when the group is small. Interaction can happen with each one, teach one, while being taught by one. This thumb rule principle of Bhakti Vriksha can be really achieved only when the group is small. 10 to 15 maximum. 15 actually is the maximum number of people. If you reach 15 regular, then divide it. I'm sorry, you don't use the word divide, we use the word multiply.
Don't say split the group, don't say divide the group, say we are multiplying.
Expanding.
Yeah. Otherwise it has a negative
impact. And also...
divide and rule.
So that's not the concept of Bhakti Vriksha. And it's, so when we have 15 regular members, you should multiply into 7 and 7, 7 and 8, like that. So you multiply and then start growing the groups again individually. So that's how, Bhakti Vriksha should be multiplied.
So when only the servant leader is happy and all the members are crowded and not so happy, it's time to multiply.
Can it be smaller and multiply? Can it be smaller than maybe 10 or something, and can we multiply? Is it good or not good?
Then it becomes a question of survival of both the groups. We don't want that you multiply and then now both groups gone. You have 10 and then 5 here, and then now there's no enthusiasm, and then both the groups lost.
Yes.
So that should not happen. I mean, it doesn't happen, but if you are not careful, sometimes it may happen. People may just feel.
But sometimes if you have really good inflow of cold public into your groups, if you are getting well fed into your groups of new people, then yes, you can multiply into 5 and 5, so then it will get filled in very quickly also. And then again the multiplication will happen very quickly. It just depends on how much you're getting in the input, so that you're ready to multiply again.
So that's the number 15, I don't know the question on why that 15, but then if you're splitting it, multiply that 15 by 7 and 8 or 10 and 5 or whatever it is. So when you multiply that, would it be a good approach that we have, I wouldn't say seniority, neither of them are seniority, but let's assume someone is advanced, I'll use the word advanced. Would you put some 2 to 3 of the advanced people in one group and 2 to 3 people in another group?
Absolutely.
That would be a good approach.
Yes, that is how it is to be done. That some of the senior members of the group would be multiplied so that the group can sustain on its own also. And then you depend on the whole crowd to come in and fill in the group. But the number 15 is stressed because the thing with Bhakti Vriksha is that it is a discussion. It's not a lecture. When we are sitting in a circle, everyone needs to give in their inputs. Time limit is also there. If you want to have a discussion with 40 people, you can do so. But you will need probably 4 to 5 hours for that. In Bhakti Vriksha, we don't have that time amount. We have only 1.5 hours. So within 1.5 hours, the time limit that is given for everyone to share something from their point of view, to have a nice discussion, it is practical only to have 10 to 15 people. If you have more than that, it cannot be a discussion. That is why the number.
So you answered the question of 15.
Yes, that is the number.
Okay, so this is how the multiplication takes place. You have the servant leader in the current group who has identified, for example, 2 trainee servant leaders. You could have identified 4 also. Doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be 1 or 2 or 3. It can be 4, or the whole group can be, you have such advanced devotees or committed devotees that everyone is worth a trainee servant leader. But for example, you have 2 of them, then typically in 16 to 24 months, which means after 1 year you should start planning the multiplication and let the group know also that this is what's coming. but in 1.5 years or so, you should be able to multiply into 2 groups. And what will happen is that trainee servant leaders will become the servant leaders of the 2 groups, and they will be the facilitator, they will do the details of the group, they will take care. But now the servant leader, who was the earlier servant leader, becomes the sector servant automatically. Which means now he's member of both the groups. Sometimes it looks like now he's the member of none of the groups. No, now he's the member of both the groups.
He visits both the groups.
So, not that, okay, now I've trained you, now you are doing one group, you're doing one group, I'll sit at home. No. Now 1 week he'll go here, 1 week he'll visit here. He'll keep visiting. Because it's not fair on these trainee servant leaders to leave them alone on their own. They just got, till now they were doing on support. But now they're testing the waters, but at least they'll need some guidance, they'll have some confidence that, okay, at least once in 2 weeks, that person is coming and helping me.
Yes.
And if there are any issues, within the group, they can have discussions like that. So the sector servant needs to visit both the groups. Similarly, when they will identify some trainee servants, this will become into 2 groups. This will become sector servant of one, this will become sector servant of another, this one will become circle servant. But they will still keep visiting all the groups. It just means that they have become member of more number of groups now. No, it's not a management kind of position. It is a management position, but it's more hands-on kind of thing.
And remember, it's a servant. That means it's not that you're being promoted. Spiritual hierarchy works opposite way. The more higher position that you get, you are actually becoming servant of those many number of devotees.
Actually, this slide we should put them down.
Downward.
Yeah.
So that's how it works. And it's this structure is what is Bhaktivinoda Thakur's structure. So when they become sector servant, he becomes the sector servant, he trains them, and then this person now being the servant leader, he identifies one more trainee servant leader, they grow, they multiply eventually into 2, and then this person becomes the sector servant, he will become the circle servant. As simple as that. And that way then the Bhakti Vriksha groups are not, becoming independent of each other. They are still having hands-down monitoring system, and they do not have the tendency to become on their own, so to speak. They're never on their own. They're always under constant supervision. While they are supervising others, they are also being supervised.
So when these 2 groups are formed, the sector servant tells them that now your expiry date is 16 months. So from the beginning only they should know that it's going to multiply. Otherwise you'll have many challenges. That even though everyone agrees we should multiply, they don't want to, because now they lose friends. Because relationships are formed in the group. And now you say, now you go here, no, I don't want to, it's kicking and crying and all that. But if they understand the higher purpose and the expectation is set before, that's what Bhakti Vriksha group is. We love our kids, but when they grow, we have to push them out of the house. They have to get their own wings, they have to become independent.
And that is where your importance of following the sharing is the essence part of the Bhakti Vriksha program, the 5th part, sharing is the essence, that's where the importance is. That we should have sharing so that the members also are cultivated with the mood that yes, we are meant for sharing and reaching out to others, and we are meant for multiplying and reaching out.
So these are some of the chapters.
Sorry, I had a question on the previous slide. Like you said, when the groups multiply, the sector servant will become a circle servant, and the servant leader will become a sector servant. Previously you said when it gets multiplied, sector servant will go 1 week here and 1 week there. So it further gets multiplied. Does the circle leader also coming to the?
Yeah.
Yes.
So it would be like both circle leader, sector servant.
It
and
might not be on the
or-
same day.
Okay.
They
Different.
might take turns.
So this
See,
week-
if you go back to this one,
Here if he goes, this sector servant 1 week here,
Okay.
First week, second week, third week, fourth week.
Okay.
This one may be doing first week, second week, third week, fourth week, fifth week, sixth week, seventh week, eighth week, ninth week, 10th.
They won't get on the...
Yeah, so some senior person is there in each group sometime.
Or the other.
And sometimes the rotation may come that they may all both come together. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's not
But
a big
they
deal.
form actually, they make a calendar also.
Okay.
Like the way we do it in Houston is that we form a calendar that when we are going to visit whom. So that, right now actually we both are the circle servants, basically. So we take turns and we actually, he visits certain groups on certain days, I visit certain groups on certain days. So we split up just the two of us. But when we have more circle servants, then we will have the luxury of, having more, and then we can coordinate that, okay, at least in one group, one given group, there is at least one senior devotee present at all times, either a sector servant or a circle servant.
All time. I mean, so when does
Sometimes it may happen that no one may be there
Yes.
in that particular group. And by then, they would have had so many visits and they would have already... Because when the sector servant comes to this group, he doesn't conduct the program.
Oh, okay.
Make
Yeah,
sure.
that's what I was thinking.
No, he doesn't conduct, the servant leader only conducts the program.
Okay.
All these senior members, senior people, they just come and sit as a member.
Silent member.
Okay.
They participate in the discussion as they would. And maybe if the training servant leader, he has just become servant leader, he gets stuck in some philosophical question, they come and help. They just speak up and help in some way. But the servant leader runs the whole group and he does this. Sector servant, circle servant, they just come and sit. And at the end of the program, maybe take notes. At the end, give feedback, or maybe identify, these people need to be trained.
Okay.
That Bhakti Vriksha training, which happens at the temple for all the groups, sector servant is the one who says, okay, these people, ask them to come for this training, then servant leader. So the sector servant respects the authority of the servant leader within the group. He doesn't come and just... But servant leader also respects the authority of sector servant, that, he's taking guidance from him. But he doesn't impose his authority while being in the group. But servant leader can introduce that, he's our sector servant. He has come today to visit. We are very thankful, welcomes him like that. But he conducts the discussion.
And also one very important thing of the role of the sector servant or the circle servant is that not to criticize or correct the servant leader when the session is in progress. Because that will destroy the faith of the members. The members' faith will be destroyed on the servant leader. And that should not be done. The servant leader should not be corrected in front of everybody. The sector servant or the circle servant, they can take down notes, they can make mental notes. In fact, if they come as an inspector, and taking notes, the servant leader also gets very scared. So please, that should not be done. You're not going there to inspect. Make mental notes, and then in private, you can, the servant leader can be told that, Prabhu, these are the areas that you can, probably think about improving, and these are things that I saw, but, criticism...
These are like.
Exactly, that's what I was coming to. Criticism is always to be offered as a sandwich. Remember this always. It has to be a top bread of good. What good you like, you appreciate that. Then you give your, little thing, your main patty, your veggie patty, your burger. You say that as your, if the points that you feel that need to be improved. And then again, give another bottom bread also, saying that again, by the way, these are the things that we love about you, but what you did. So the criticism doesn't hurt. This is called constructive criticism. So it doesn't hurt the other person. That you're not there, that I'm here, I'm your boss, I'm here to correct you, you better do what I say. No, that's not the attitude.
I'm concerned about the time factor. It
No,
seems
we
that,
are so too. It's never Yes.
but as one becomes more involved as a servant leader and has more and more commitments to go into different groups, how can one make that work if one has other services for the local temple?
We don't understand that question.
Well, say for
Okay, so for instance, if one becomes a servant leader and one night a week I'm going to this group, the next night I'm going to this group, and so on, every night a week becomes taken
No,
up.
No.
This is once a week. So if the Bhakti Vriksha programs happen either on Thursday nights or Friday nights. So 1 week of a Friday night, he'll go to one group. The next Friday he'll go to another group. The next Friday he goes to another group.
I see.
We don't yet have the luxury of being the standard of Bhakti Vinod Thakur, of having programs every day. We still don't have that luxury yet. But it's still weekly basis. So yes, the servant leader or the sector servant, they go only on a weekly basis. It's not more than that.
Okay.
It's just a weekly service. Is that okay?
Just like they would have gone to their individual group every week, instead of going to one group every week, they're going to multiple
Okay,
groups.
that's very manageable.
That's doable, yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
You want to take the challenges?
Yeah, the challenges that come up in multiplication, when a group is to be multiplied, the members. One very important thing is they tend to become very attached. The family bond is very, very strong. But when they have the higher motive in their mind, when you tell them about the higher purpose of multiplication, then it is easy. And also you tell them that advancement is, you grow spiritually by the responsibility that you take. Yesterday we saw the quotes of Srila Prabhupada, what he talks about how to make spiritual advancement. The more you make advancement, the more responsibility you get. You take upon yourself. So the more responsible you are, the more advancement you make. And of course that is the way Srila Prabhupada expanded. And we also teach them that even as a parent, our children don't want to go to school. But we make them, we force them to go to school for their higher benefit. So this way also we try to tell them that yes, they are multiplying, they are expanding, but it is for their own good, so that they can grow spiritually and also make others fortunate, so that they can also grow, give Krishna consciousness to others, and become dear to Krishna. And also we give them a bonus. You know what the bonus is? We give them the hope that the Bhakti Vriksha groups will unite once a month, or once in 5 to 6 weeks, at least. Like the programs, when you have Maharaj programs, or any visiting sannyasi, visiting guest program, combine the Bhakti Vriksha groups. Or a Bhajan Sandhya program, or a birthday, or any kind of, important celebration coming up. Gather together the Bhakti Vriksha groups, celebrate it together. Then the family feeling becomes, you have a much more bigger family to associate with. So who would not want that? So you are together even though there is separation, and you also tell them that our parampara, Lord Chaitanya taught us the mood of Vipralamba Seva. We are Gauranga Anugamis, we are followers of Lord Chaitanya, where he taught us service in the mood of separation, in Gopi Bhav. So when we serve Srila Prabhupada and our spiritual masters in separation from each other, we actually grow more close together, spiritually. So by telling them this parampara mood also helps them. And of course we set their expectations from the very beginning. Now say for example, if a Bhakti Vriksha group is coming up, and you've not been doing preaching is the essence, that sharing is the essence part at all, and you've not been talking about any kind of expansion, and then by the way 1.5 years later you give them a hammer on their head and say, by the way we have to expand. Everyone is going to get, what? Why did you tell me from the beginning? Yeah? So that's the thing, that we set their expectations from day one, that preaching is part of our sadhana. Just like how we chant our 16 rounds, just like how we follow the 4 regulative principles, the 5th regulative principle is to preach, to share Krishna consciousness. So it is not an option, but it is part of our sadhana.
I think Mataji, in that Bhakti Vriksha modules, what we have, I think it has that one, like in the end, like preaching, I think it has the expansion. That's I think it's already have. So maybe we have to explain that and go
It's
into more
already
detail.
there in the edifications that we gave you.
Saying
It's
the
al-
64 modules,
Uh-huh.
it says after the 64 modules are done, now you expand.
Oh, okay.
No, not that. Even in the modules, the way it says like we have to preach. That is the welfare. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that is there
That
even,
is a section.
even in the
But
edifications
what
that we
she's
designed.
saying is that sometimes the servant leaders skip it.
Oh, okay.
Even though it's there,
Okay.
but then they
It's
say,
easy
well,
to
now
skip
no
it.
time, discussion has taken longer. If you don't end the discussion in 45 minutes and you increase that time, then it eats away the time of sharing with the essence, and it's already 9:30 and now kids are hungry, they are all coming in. So okay, prashad.
We did that. Since we don't know the whole structure, we just did the discussion part. We didn't did the name, forgot the section. Like there's a beginning section, the middle section, and the end one. So we skipped the both of them.
Throw the bread, you just eat the
There's the patty.
Yeah, so don't do that, you'll get indigestion. Don't do that. So that's how we need to follow, be very strict in following the 6 parts of the Bhakti Vriksha program, and we recommend that you follow the materials that we gave you because it's tried and tested and it has given success. Especially in the mentality of people, they need chronological way of understanding even our philosophy. So that's how these materials that we've designed is in that way. So we highly recommend you to please follow that material that we've given to you. You can please share with everybody else and follow that material. And everything is there. Every week just take a printout and you're ready to go. Yes? So quickly, shall we just run over? No, we just need to after discussion I'll just cover it into the and just PPT.
duties of servant leader that form
No.
maybe in implementation we can try. Big one, small one.
Big swarm. Actually, I don't need a slide, but just a. Yesterday we did talk about some of the facilitation skills that is needed by the servant leader. So we talked about the atmosphere of the room, how the room needs to be set up, the ambience of the room, in the sense that we have to have Prabhupada's book on display, a small altar, so that, and everyone sits in a circle, so that should be the atmosphere of the room. And discipline, that's a very important thing, because we don't want to reward the early comers and punish the late comers. Or is it the other way around? Anyways, it's always a tongue twister for me. But don't start, don't wait for people to start coming and then start your program. 7:15 sharp, start your program, even if there's 1 or 2 people, or even if there's nobody, just your family, start the program, start the kirtan. When people know that you will start the program on time, they will make sure that they will come on time. But it's just a discipline that we set as an example. People will come. But if they know that you will wait for them, then they will never come on time. So that's a standard you need to set from the very beginning. And this is very, very important. In being a servant leader, we should not try to imitate some other devotee, who might be very eloquent in their speaking, or they are very dynamic, or this and that. If we try to imitate and we want to be like them, then that will last only for a certain time. But therefore, we should try to be ourselves. Just be ourselves. Be natural. Be the way you are. Don't try to impose anything unnatural upon anybody. Now, say for example, anyone comes in and they ask you a difficult question philosophically, and if you don't know the answer to that particular question, don't construe something, don't brew up something and say the answer. Be honest about it. Say that it's a very good question, but unfortunately I really don't know the answer to that question. I will, do some research on it and I will get back to you by next week. So be honest, be upfront about it. People will appreciate that honesty in you. Rather than if you just say something from your mind and which is not correct. They will not appreciate that. Of course, arrange the room in advance, not that you start doing at 7:30 and when people are starting to come in, don't do that. When being in a group discussion, because it is a discussion, the servant leader asks the question, right? Discovery, understanding, application. The first question is asked by the servant leader. They say, okay, so what are the real problems of life? Everyone is quiet. What do?
You start telling yourself.
No, never do that. Never do that. That is the very important thing. That if everybody is quiet, if they are silent, that means two things. They are either shy or that they have not understood the question. It just means these two things. That they have not understood the question or they are too shy because it's the first time that they're being in such a gathering. But don't be pressured by that silence. Let that silence, it will slowly build on you first, but slowly if you keep quiet and tolerate that, it will build on the audience. It will go upon the members. And they'll start looking at each other. And you be quiet, relaxed, calm. Don't think, oh no, nobody's answering. Oh no, am I doing everything right? Oh no, don't panic, it's okay. Relax. Show them that you have all the time in the world and you are ready to wait for them to respond. And if they are still not responding, you just, don't stare down. Okay, I'm looking at you now, you have to give me the answer. Don't stare down on a person. Just glance around the room, with a gentle smile on your face. Be very, very relaxed and calm, and treat everybody very, very fairly. Okay? And then you'll see that if that shyness it's just a question of shyness, then when this pressure of silence is built upon them, then one of them will start answering. If they will answer, one of them will break the silence. But even after 30 seconds, if they still don't answer, if it comes back to you, the pressure of silence comes back to you, then what do you do? Then you should understand that they have not understood the question. Probably. What are the real problems of life? Then the servant leader can think of simplifying the question, not answering the question again. Never answer the question, but simplify. Maybe ask a simpler question. So, okay, let's go a level lower. You can say, the question says, what are the real problems of life? What do you define a problem? How do you define a problem? What is the definition of a problem? Anybody? Anybody? What is the definition of a problem?
Anything that bothers you.
Anything that bothers you? Yes, very good. Any other definition? What is the definition of a problem?
Anything you want to engage more energy in solving it, you feel uncomfortable, then it becomes a problem.
Correct. Very good. Any other?
The problem is which is common to all.
That is a real problem. But what is a problem?
Problem which disturbs day-to-day activities.
Correct. So in simple terms, you can say, in a layman's term, you can say a problem is something that you want and you don't have, and something that you don't want and you have. That's a problem, right? So now in this light, what is a real problem? So what is the definition of a real problem? That is the definition, that it is common to all, it is universal, it is applicable to everybody, no one can escape it, and it is,
Even if you don't want it, it anyway comes.
it will come, and by solving which, every other problem will automatically solve. So now in this light, what are real problems of life? Simple. That way you're simplifying the questions for them. You are facilitating a discussion. rather than giving them the answers on a silver plate. Don't do that. So if you do that, then you end up being the lecturer. Remember that Bhakti Vriksha is always a discussion and it's not a lecture. So you have to make them think, get their juices flowing basically. So to make their juices flowing, what you need to do is ask the right kind of questions. Ask them the right kind of questions, give them the right kind of platform to answer. Make them feel comfortable. If they say anything wrong, don't say, no, you're wrong. No. Oh, okay, you're right, I love you. No, not that also. You should be treating everybody with very much fairness. And if one person is over enthusiastic, you can, like if that person is shooting, I know, okay, I know, every answer, that person is only answering. Everyone else is quiet. You need to very humbly and tactfully solve that also. So, maybe anybody else? We've got a very active member in the group, but maybe anybody else wants to share anything else? Give others a chance to also share. Sometimes there might be shy people in the group who, whatever you do, they just want to be listeners. Some people are natured like that. They just want to be listeners. We don't go and say, no, you're not talking, you're supposed to be talking. This is a discussion. I've been told this is a discussion and you have to talk. No. Give them their space. Try to understand the nature of people. And
how you deal with others, based on that, these listeners will then feel comfortable to speak or not speak and go back and show.
So we should care for others' feelings. We should care for their feelings and not just, say, no, not like this. Oh, yes. Be very careful how we are dealing with people. Lovingly, caringly. Give them that, that yes, I love you. I value what you are saying to me. I really value that, value your opinion. So that's very important for people to understand.
And if someone asks a question to the facilitator, then the first response, instead of answering the question, throw it to the audience. What do you all think? Suppose someone asks me a question. You ask me a question and I say, well, what do you all think? So then someone will say their idea, someone will say their... In the end, you can actually give the answer. Then that will promote discussion rather than, also, it helps, I don't know, maybe you have said that initially itself you must say that I'm the facilitator of the group and my role is to keep the discussion on track. If I feel that the discussion is deviating from the topic, then I'll chime in and just help everyone to come back to the discussion. So then now, once you have said that up front before the discussion, now you have the authority to come in. But if you don't do that, it's very important. If you don't do it, and in between someone is saying, you say, no, I think this is going outside discussion. He may take it otherwise, he or she, that, oh, that person you didn't say, when I'm speaking, you're asking me to stop. It happens, it just, people feel like that. That's the first reaction.
So, setting the expectations from the very beginning is important, that your duty is like the facilitator. And as we said, don't lecture, wait for answers. Wait for them to answer and inspire them to think by asking the right kind of questions. That's very, very important. And also, diffuse any conflicting situation, like supposing you're having a discussion on Mayavad philosophy. Very, very conflicting situation can come about. But, maybe if it is getting too heated up, that's when you can just step in and say, well, why don't we take this discussion offline? We can probably and mostly that discussion will be between two people. One person will say something and the other person will say another thing, challenging, going on. So then you can say, why don't we, and the others are just listening and, going either on top of their heads or just getting more and more confused. That's the result, mostly what happens. But, so therefore to diffuse such conflicting situations by stepping in at the right time, in a very respectful way, saying that, I think this discussion is getting a little off the topic, and why don't we take it offline? Later on we can continue the discussion. Let us first finish the edification, like that. Yes.
Sometimes, like when the discussion goes on, like they will say that, and I mean, it would be expanded. Like others also have the same point and keeps on going. I mean, even though we stop, maybe we will come back again to that point. So what do we do?
Therefore, then what Prabhu said, if they're asking the same question, you throw it open to the group. And then ask the members to start answering. So when you keep doing that, when you are not answering the question as it is being posed to you, they will pose you questions, but deflect it to the audience. Get the members involved in answering. What do you all think about it? Any opinions? So if it is happening 2 or 3 times, the members themselves will speak up. But, we've already discussed this. That person will keep quiet.
But the discussion will go in a different route, right? Not the philosophy what we need to present. They would be talking about philosophy which like Mayavadi or something.
If it is not in the topic, then you respectfully can say that, well, this is the topic that we're discussing this week, and this particular topic that you're bringing up is going to be discussed in further sessions, and that's when we will talk about it. And if you want to talk about it, we can talk, one-on-one during prasadam time or later. But right now, let's finish the topic on hand.
Okay.
So you can say that, because we've already in the beginning set the expectation that if it goes out of topic, you will bring it back on the topic. So you've already set that expectation, and when you do that, people will not be offended.
So the scope needs to be defined and followed through. At the same time, the facilitator plays a very key role to make sure the discussion is within the set scope.
Within the set scope, yes. That is the role of the facilitator. That if you're discussing...
The questions decide the scope. After we read the edification, there are questions on discovery, understanding, and application. Yesterday I had a live demonstration of the discussion. Because those questions guide the discussion. So there is a question, and we are trying to discuss answer to that question. If someone is going to another topic which doesn't answer the question, it's out of scope. So the facilitator doesn't have to formally say this is the scope. It's just understood.
He just sets the expectation, saying that if it goes out of topic, I will bring it back. He doesn't have to mention, well, today we are discussing on the soul, so anything only on the soul we are going to talk about. No. Just say on the topic, and that solves the purpose.
One question, Mathu. Yesterday we had the session. We discussed the whole thing. And in the end, of course, we presented, but most of the people will say, like, okay, whatever I presented, I said, is it right or wrong? I mean, that would be the question. Even though they might understand what we are trying to say, but it's very difficult to connect.
What they are giving their opinions?
Yes.
If it is right or wrong. Well, you see, when they are giving the opinion, if you saw in the discussion yesterday, when everyone was saying, when Prabhu asked the question, everyone gave their opinion, but in the end, Prabhu gave a conclusion also.
Yeah.
So his conclusion is going to determine whether the people who have, they will know that yes, what I said, Prabhu will actually quote, by the way, you said like this, so yes, according to that, according to the Bhagavad Gita, this is the right way of concluding the
Pick
thing.
from them and
yes, so therefore they will know.
Okay.
Anyone will be able to gauge that way.
Okay.
Yes?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, we got our probably
Yes, we are done. We are actually done. It's done now. Yeah, we're done. We need 5 minutes to present on Back to Godhead. Can I get the subscription?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
what is the other one? Two things. Implementation with who knows what is this? Really? Wow, this is famous.
many of you, actually, recently we have been, do you want to say that?
How many of you subscribe to Back to Godhead magazines? Very nice.
Very good, very good.
So, recently devotees from the Back to Godhead magazine asked us to help with the marketing team of the Back to Godhead magazine, in the sense that there are, all over the world Back to Godhead magazine is there, but in India it's doing really well, in South Africa it's doing well, Europe it's doing well. In North America we are not having so much success. And so, because we are also working with the Congregation Development Ministry, so Vaisheshika Prabhu is on the marketing team, and some other devotees, Nagaraj Prabhu and others, Pranada Mataji. So they've been asking us that when we go for these seminars, if we can talk to the devotees about Back to Godhead magazine subscriptions. This would be a good way for book distribution, good way for your Bhakti Vriksha members to actually slowly get connected with the larger ISKCON. Otherwise, sometimes the Bhakti Vriksha members feel that, oh, this is the all in all. This association is end all be all. They don't.
Just a group in itself.
Sometimes, if a group is completely disconnected, they don't even know that it's connected to the ISKCON temple. They just feel it's a nice, cozy family association, and then they don't know that it's part of a worldwide larger organization. So you can slowly, actually, if you encourage them to take the subscription, which is, how much is it?
It's just $36, I think.
For 2 years.
Subscription.
Yeah, 2 years, $36, which is $18 a year subscription. And it's a bi-monthly, which means once in 2 months it will come. And 6 issues in a year. But it's very interesting because it has pictures, and the kids will love it. There are different sections that we want to introduce, and we want to get feedback from you all also as to those who are already subscribing. What would you like to see in it that will make it more relatable to you?
What I like about it, so sorry, this microphone is acting up. What I like about it especially are personal stories. That, and I like the Bhagavatam classes that are given, and they go through point by point, what did you learn from this? Because that helps me as a student. And I have to say, the reason why I don't subscribe to Back to Godhead, I am so busy reading CC and Bhagavatam and Gita and my responsibilities and my service. I don't have time, because I know there is so much thoughtfulness put into this magazine. I don't have time to sit down and appreciate it.
How about your family members? Would any of your family members?
This is a very good point that you brought up, that it's good for newcomers.
Yeah.
Because it's very attractive, the pictures are very
And the
engaging.
quality is so good. I mean,
It's
just
in the
for-
very
yeah, the quality.
For me, it's a luxury.
Yeah. And yeah, go ahead, George.
Sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, actually, I don't need that to speak.
No,
For the
For the record. Okay, so, two things which I really like in this magazine was, one, the images which they put in, so that's really good. We cannot see it on that. The second thing is the dance. Some of the questions and episodes. It's so interesting to read that. I think probably this is covered. It's just a small thing. One is where we could add in more about some children programs into that particular magazine, which is appealing, which could be at different levels also, not only for children but at the youth level also. The second thing is probably some of the, as I said, this is a suggestion. So probably in the websites of some of the temples, we need to have this place where somebody gets to know that there is a magazine like this.
Exactly.
Today the problem, the way I understand the problem is the awareness is not there.
exactly, that is the problem.
So that could be something. Probably the third is maybe in a long term we can have a soft version of this particular magazine that's not going to that. So these are some small suggestions.
We are really grateful that you brought out these points, Prabhu. Excellent points. Thank you.
So what I like about it is, of course, pictures, and what I do with the pictures is I frame them. You know, if I have read everything, if it's lying there, I would rather frame and put it in or give someone. You know, another thing I would like to see an addition in the Back to Garden is I want something for kids. Almost like it's coming twice in 1 month. So something for kids so that they also create some interest towards the book and they wait for it to come. So especially for kids. That's all.
Mataji would like to say?
Kids one.
Kids.
Okay. I feel that's amazing.
Thank you so much for all of your input, and the point that Prabhu brought in was the most important one actually, which BTG North America is actually going through, is because of the lack of awareness, even amongst devotees. You know, because we feel that, well, you know, if we know the origin of Back to Godhead, Srila Prabhupada started this magazine single-handedly back in the 1940s. And he used to go to Delhi, you know, from Vrindavan. It was so difficult for him to do it, yes? But he still did it because his spiritual master instructed him to do so. So we actually feel...
Sometimes he would faint.
Yeah, you know,
your ever well-wisher and the other
magazine, yeah.
He would go distributing this Back to Garden magazine. He fainted in Delhi.
He would get heat strokes, but still he would not, you know, give up on the production and the distribution of the Back to Garden magazine. So in that same mood, we are now trying to revive and bring BTG back into the front lines of ISKCON, back again. That is the purpose why the devotees have been very mercifully, they have engaged both of us in this service. This is a recent addition to our service that we are doing for Back to Godhead magazine. And we want to request one of you, because what we are looking at is you know, different centers around North America to have one particular representative whom I will be in touch with, who will be the face for me to get in touch with, or for us to get in touch with you for the distribution of Back to Godhead. We will give you all the marketing materials. All you have to see is that whenever you have a festival or any book distribution event, make sure that you have enough of these subscription forms, give them out, you know, take subscriptions and get as many as BTGs out. You know, and we are recommending the 2-year subscriptions, you know, for everyone to take part. So even in our Sunday Feast programs, if we promote it, if we just have it, you know, one devotee dedicated, sitting at that welcome booth, sitting over there, and even our regular devotees, if they start taking it, you know, and there are so many devotees who are not doing it, you know, just because it's in the back of their mind, or, you know, for whatever reasons, they are not doing it. But just as an offering to Srila Prabhupada, as an offering of love to Srila Prabhupada, as a gesture of reciprocating his love, you know, for that, if you can spend this $37 and get into the subscription of the BTG by filling in this form. So we are looking for this one devotee who can be the BTG agent.
I would like to take this service.
Hari Bol! Thank you so much. So Prabhu, can you please take a picture?
Yes, sir.
We are going to hand over these subscription forms. Prabhu, if you may please come up. We are formally handing over the subscription forms. Prabhu, please. To you, Prabhu, for Boston area.
Thanks for providing this free service.
Thank you for
Thank you.
I need guidance. Probably I think you have come because the light source is there.
Okay. Is this good? Now I want to document this. This is a very precious moment. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. So I will be getting in touch with you. I will take your email address and everything, and I'll stay in touch with you and provide you all the marketing materials. And you will stay in direct touch with me, and you will be promoting Back to Godhead here in Boston.
Thank you.
And we wish that at least we have 1,000 subscriptions by the end of December. Yeah. Haribo! Thank you so much.
Actually, before Srila Prabhupada's books were being distributed, devotees would actually distribute Back to Godhead magazines on the street. That was the audience for the Back to Godhead magazine at that time. Slowly after that it became subscription based, and the congregation members have become the audience. So this will definitely help in promoting Back to Godhead throughout North America.
So I will take your email with you. So we will stay in touch with you. I will tell you everything.
Prabhuji, if you want to form a team within Boston itself,
Yes.
that will be good too.
Work with Nitin
You can-
Prabhu as
Right,
a book distributor, and you can, you can form your own team, but you will be our contact point for BTG.
Thank you.
Thank you. All glories to your service.
Would anyone else would like to help Prabhuji, please feel free to do that.
I can.
Right.
I can help because I go a lot with Nitin Prabhu for book distribution. So keep some forms also in the gift shop, because if anyone comes, we have Back to Godhead in gift shop, so many devotees buy it.
Perfect, yeah.
So you can
You
keep
can
some
keep
forms.
them.
If anyone buys them, just give them the form.
And if I need more subscription forms, I need to contact.
Yeah, you can actually just,
I can just make a.
No, I have a document I can.
Yeah.
Make copies of it.
you can,
It's a
no,
soft
you can
copy.
just take a printout.
Oh.
I have the copy for you.
And I will send you all the marketing material. I'll send you everything. It's not a problem. Thank you.
Jai, thank you for the helpers too.
All glories to all of your services. Thank you all so much for helping us with the BTG, which is so very dear to Srila Prabhupada. And now, coming to the most important part of the program.